tells us that the flood caused a great change in the atmosphere of the earth. What exactly caused the fountains of the deep to break up is not mentioned, but the most likely answer is an impact with an asteroid. This could have caused the split in the Earth's crust that encircled the world, causing the pressurized water to shoot out, as well as causing volcanic activity, which would cause the rain. The process could also have shifted the continents into or near their current locations. Prior to this, all the continents were linked together. Scientists call this supercontinent Pangaea. One evidence for the supercontinent Pangaea comes from the matching rock layers from the coast of South America and the west coast of Africa. And if you look at a map, you can see where the continents had once fit together at another time. This supercontinent may not have had any large mountains like we do today, and the flood created our larger mountain ranges from the volcanic activity, and over time it rained from volcanic activity, and over time it rained for 40 days, and the floodwaters prevailed for 150 days before they started to decline. The Bible states that the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat on the 7th month of the flood, but no mountain tops were seen until the 10th month. Logically, the ark rested on the highest mountain in the area at the time, since no other mountains were seen until 3 months later. Somehow Noah knew that the floodwaters had covered the highest mountains by 15 cubits, 22 to 26 feet approximately. 40 days after the mountain tops became visible, Noah sent a raven and a dove out of the window of the ark to check if all the water had receded from the earth. The raven didn't return, but the dove could not find a place to rest. Noah sent the dove out again 7 days later. This time when the dove returned, it had an olive leaf in its possession. This told Noah that the waters were gone. He stayed another 7 days and sent the dove out again. This time it never returned. Noah then removed the covering of the ark and looked and saw the dry ground. Then God told Noah to leave the ark. Noah had lived in the ark for 1 full year during the time of the flood. Noah built an altar and sacrificed one of every clean animal to the Lord God. God then lifted the curse of the ground that had been put on man from the fall of Adam, which made it much more difficult to farm. God also pledged not to destroy all living things upon the earth again, and stated that day, night, and procession of the seasons would not cease while the earth remained. God blessed Noah and his sons and told them to replenish the earth. God also informed them that the animals would no longer view them as friendly, but would fear humans. Noah and his sons were told that they could eat animals, but not the blood, and anyone who killed a man, his life would be required, and other men had the right to take it. Prior to this, God didn't allow man to enforce the death penalty, such as in the case of Cain and Abel. God stated that he would not destroy the earth again by flood, and as a sign and token of his promise, he established the rainbow. Noah and his sons left the ark and replenished the earth. DNA has proven that all of man has descended from the same genetic line, and that mankind had dwindled to a very small number of people. This surprised scientists who believe in evolution, because they would have expected more than just one genetic line that man would have evolved from. The location of the landing site of the ark is uncertain because the region of Ararat has over 1,000 mountains, and virtually any area that it landed, except for an ice-covered mountain such as Mount Ararat, evidence of the ark would probably have long disappeared. Ancient historians have claimed sightings of the ark. Josephus, a Jewish historian at the time of the dispersion of the Jews, said remains of the ark were still shown by the inhabitants of the area to this day. He also quoted Berosus, a Babylonian historian from 1290 BC, who indicated people would take home pieces of the ark and make good luck charms. The Syrian and Armenian traditions have the ark landing on Mount Kuti, which is 100 kilometers southeast of Mount Ararat. Early Christian fathers and first-century rabbis claimed that the ark could still be seen in their times. Their times range from, of course, 1 AD to 400 AD. and Islamic sources also stated that the Ark could still be seen between the years of 800 AD and 1200 AD. Marco Polo, the Italian explorer, mentioned hearing similar stories and wrote in his book The Travels of Marco Polo, "In the heart of Greater Armenia is a very high mountain, shaped like a cube, on which Noah's Ark is said to have rested, whence it is called the Mountain of Noah's Ark. The mountain is so broad and long it takes more than 2 days to go around it, and on the summit the snow lies so deep all year round that no one can ever climb it. This snow never entirely melts, but new snow is forever falling on the old, so that the level rises. These early accounts give us hope to believe that some part of the Ark has still survived to present day." The 1800s saw several expeditions to Mount Ararat. In 1829, Dr. Frederick Perrott made an ascent to Greater Ararat, and he wrote in Journey to Ararat that all the Armenians are firmly persuaded that Noah's Ark remains to this day on the top of Mount Ararat, and that in order to preserve it, no human being is allowed to approach it. In 1876, James Bryce, a professor of civil law at Oxford, climbed above the tree line and found a plank of hand-hewn timber 4 feet long, 5 inches thick. In 1883, the British Prophetic Messenger and other newspapers reported that the Turkish commissioners investigating avalanches had seen the Ark. There is a story that Tsar Nicholas II sent an expedition of 150 men from the Russian Imperial Air Force to Mount Ararat, where they supposedly found and documented the Ark and brought back samples. But this happened just as the communists had taken power from the government of Russia, and any proof of their expedition was suppressed or destroyed. The communists wanted to set up a godless society, and proof of one of the Bible's most fantastic stories could not be tolerated. Georgi Hagapan claimed to have visited the Ark twice in the early 1900s with his uncle, and that he climbed up and walked along its roof. In 1943, a U.S. Army Sergeant Ed Davis claimed to have seen the Ark when he climbed Mount Ararat with his driver's family when he was stationed in Hamadan in Iran. After climbing the mountain for 3 days, they were able to see two pieces of the Ark from their position 100 feet above the Ark on the mountain. The Abbas family, who took Ed Davis on the climb, had considered Davis a friend for helping supply water to their village. This Kurdish family had known the location of the two pieces of the Ark and developed a route with storehouses and caves for the trip. And during the summer months of the early 1940s, they visited the site regularly. Summer times and the times when the snow has significantly melted is usually the only time a sighting of the pieces of the Ark is possible. Otherwise, the sections are under snow and ice. Once the Cold War started, access to Mount Ararat became very restricted. Even to this day, groups wanting permission and permits to explore the mountain are very hard to get. Ararat sits close to the borders of Russia and Iran, and even today that makes it again a sensitive area. Helicopter and aerial flights are greatly restricted. Besides the fact that the snow and winds make helicopter flights to the mountain difficult, and Kurdish rebels have been known to operate in the area and have robbed people climbing the mountain. And also, when you climb the mountain itself, it can be life-threatening because, as described by Jim Irving, one of the astronauts who walked on the moon, who made 5 expeditions to find the Ark, stated, "With its loose rocks, harsh winds, glaciers, deep gorges, and landslides, this is one of the most difficult mountains in the world to climb." And on one of his expeditions, he was hit in the face by a falling rock and knocked unconscious. He lost several teeth and some blood before being found by a team member. David Duckworth claimed that in 1968 a National Geographic expedition had taken photographs and removed artifacts from the Ark. Mr. Duckworth alleges that he was a volunteer with the Smithsonian Institute, which gave him access to the information. This claim suggests that the Smithsonian Institute has proof of the ark but is keeping it hidden.